Hey everyone, welcome to a crypto market update. If you're interested in the global macro side of things, definitely check out the previous video that we uploaded where we talk about all things global macro. But in this video, we're specifically going to be looking at the crypto market. So we're first going to be looking at BTC, and then we'll be looking at some tools to understand the altcoin market. And then we're going to dive into the altcoins that are actually a possible trade that we're going to be looking at after looking at the relative strength and weakness of those particular projects or coins. So first thing we want to look at is just a quick understanding of where Bitcoin is in relation to the past consolidation that we've been in for many weeks and really a couple of months here. And this is that consolidation we started back in early May of 2020, right? You can see all of these different charts are based on different currencies that we're comparing Bitcoin with. We see top right is going to be Euro, bottom right is the Japanese yen, left bottom is going to be the Australian dollar, and then we see USD or US Tether on the top left-hand corner, which is what we're always comparing Bitcoin with. But what's interesting is when you compare Bitcoin with other currencies, right? Because we do know that there are other currencies in the world that people use. And we can see, let's just close that. Bitcoin versus Australian dollar. We have not broken above the May high. Euro, we have not broken above the May high. Japanese yen, we have broken above that high right there, right? But we haven't broken above this high. So we can see against the USD, against the Japanese yen, we have broken the major structural resistance that we need to see break in order for us to call a breakout on Bitcoin. But we don't see that on Euro and Australian dollar, right? And why is that? It's because we see Euro and Australian dollar stronger than the US dollar right now by a substantial amount. So it's good to get an understanding of what Bitcoin is doing, not just with the United States dollar, but with other currencies. So I'm definitely calling a breakout on BTC at this point. I was still a little bit hesitant just because we haven't broken above the 10.1, let's say 10K zone on BTC. But once we saw a break above the 10K zone and we see it hold, that's my cue to say, all right, things are changing. There is a shift in the equilibrium between the buyers and sellers, and the buyers are definitely winning. We don't see much interest in alt yet, other than Ethereum. Ethereum is the only alt that is doing well right now. A little bit surprising. But I think the alts will come a little bit later, where capital is funneling from alts, from USDT, from other stable coins into BTC. So BTC is where all the inflows are occurring right now. And I think later on, once BTC appreciates, there's going to be speculation, more speculation in the markets, which will then funnel capital from BTC into alts. That's going to be my speculation. So right now, we see a breakout, and we see that it's really broken above the major 10.2 around key level of resistance. So really key structural break for BTC with some volume coming along with it, which is great to see. But something to note before we dive into the smaller price action here, we don't see much of an increase in volatility. We see the last times we had extremely low volatile times where we had November of 2018 as well as March of 2019. We saw a massive explosion and an expansion in volatility. We don't see that just yet. I think from what it looks like right now with where gold's going, with where silver's going, with the overall global market shifting to or continuing its risk on sentiment, it did have a little bit of a dip down, but the buyers, the bulls, are still keeping it trending to the upside for risk on assets. I think that Bitcoin is going to continue to the upside and alts are going to follow. So what this means is volatility, when it starts to expand, if our thesis is correct, will move to the upside, and it's going to be expanding in volatility, which is extremely bullish. So it could be here. The big bull run that everyone is talking about definitely could be here. We see a decrease in volatility. That's great to see, right? You see a contraction in price action. You see an initial push to the upside. If you see the 10.4 10.5 hold, let's go back to the price action. If you see 10.5-ish hold, and then we see a nice little retest and a continuation, yeah, we definitely are in a point where we're going to be looking for to hold these like 2-3x leverage longs for months, right? Because we know when we're in a parabolic state, we're seeing an acceleration of series of higher highs and higher lows. You can continuously keep the stop loss holding market structure, because the market structure should be creating a series of higher highs and higher lows, holding supports, breaking resistances. So we're at that point that we could be making a strong parabolic move here, like we saw at 2017, like we saw in the start of 2019, after this nice consolidation phase. So that is the speculation, and we're going to be looking for continuation patterns in Bitcoin as well as Ethereum and other alts. All right, so that's going to be the larger time frames. Let's now go into the smaller time frames. Not a whole lot to discuss on BTC. It just freshly broke out of the 10.3K zone. So all I want to see it do is hold. If we see it hold, that's extremely bullish for BTC. Because last time, we could not hold above 10K. Right here, we could not hold. We got slammed right back down. But now with this next move, it does look like we're able to hold. So like I said, I'd say it's a little late at this point. What you'd be looking for, if you're looking for continuation, is possibly something like this. So let's get this. That did not click. It's not really clicking. I'm not sure why. Let's please work. Awesome. So you're looking for something like this, right? You got a very aggressive move to the upside, but you're looking for continuation. You're looking for consolidation, something like that, right? That would be, in my opinion, the perfect situation for BTC, where you get this previous key level of resistance acting as a strong new level of support. And you could draw in a descending zone like this, connecting the lower highs. You can get a retest from this zone of confluence, previous resistance turned to support, something along the lines of that. So that would be the next opportunity for BTC in my personal view. I think it's a little bit late now for an entry. You want to see a correction. You want to see the market take a breath before you look to really take an entry, in my opinion, for BTC. So just had a massive move. It'd be nice to see a little pullback and to recharge for the next big breakout for BTC. So that's what we're going to be looking for BTC. And hopefully the contraction furthers, and then that next push is going to be something like this, or something like this, where we're seeing the expansion and volatility. We have not seen that yet. Quick look at the total too, the total altcoin market cap. We are at a key level of resistance at around 114 billion, although we did already pierce that zone, so it's on an uptrend. Structurally, it's making pretty strong moves, although recently we've seen a lot of volatility, which is, if you're looking for alts, is a good indication to some degree, but it's a little bit contradicting what we see within the BTC Dominance, where Bitcoin Dominance is actually moving to the upside, meaning there is capital flowing from alts into BTC, and usually that happens when there's a little bit less speculation, or when there's a huge move to the upside in BTC, where alts are going to be lagging like we saw in the spring of 2019. After we broke the $4,200 zone, it took a little bit of time for some alts to catch up to Bitcoin and to start its trend upwards. So I think that's where we're at right now, where BTC is taking a little bit of the market share, a little bit of dominance, but I do think that the alts will catch up, and we're going to see the price come back to the low here and potentially even break below 62. If it breaks below 62, that's going to be a pretty significant move to the downside for the dominance, which would mean that alts are taking more of the market share, which means that there is more speculation, which is bullish for the alts. Don't see that just yet, but that's the overall direction that I currently see within the BTC Dominance. Grayscale has yet to break its resistance at around $12.20, $12.30. We do see, when we do zoom back to the larger time frames, it's at a very key structural zone of supply. So the Grayscale's GBTC has not broken out yet, but obviously that's a massive move to the upside. Big gap within the daily candle, and overall bullish close for today's trading day. So it does look really strong for BTC, as well as the stock that a lot of institutional investors use to gain exposure into BTC. So overall looking really good for the cryptocurrency market. And we can see, surprisingly, there's not many coins that are doing better than Bitcoin. This is ZEC, which is half a point lower than Bitcoin in the span of 2 days around. But we see Bitcoin really the only one that's really appreciating. Ethereum is a close second, but a lot of these altcoins are not gaining the bid volume that Bitcoin is getting. So right now, we're just seeing a huge influx of buyers within Bitcoin. I think later on, once Bitcoin is established of breaking the 10K 10.4 zone, and you see it hold a nice level of support, then I think that we could see altcoins start to run, because people who've made money on Bitcoin will start to look for altcoins for a sympathy play, because there's more speculation, there's more buy pressure, there's more hope, optimism in the cryptocurrency market. So I think that altcoins will take a turn to the upside. It's just Bitcoin's turn right now. If you didn't catch Bitcoin, no worries. I think that the altcoin run is coming. It might be lagging, but it's a potential sympathy play for the alts that we are going to be looking at right now. BNB is already an opportunity, in my personal belief, that does look decent. But like I said, VeChain and Cardano are going to be the true, really ideal technical structures that we're looking at, that are both symmetrical triangles, that did very, very well in the first move that we had, where we got an entry on Cardano that did really well, risk reward of over 4, and VeChain as well. So really great structures that we traded last time, and we're just doing the exact same thing that we did last time, take out those great opportunities to come into fruition. So we don't see a whole lot of relative strength against Bitcoin right now. If we did a relative strength test, actually, this is going to be interesting. So we'll do this, and then we'll actually go on a relative strength test on here as well. So this is the 1 hour, this is the 1 hour as well. Let's make that into a line, and let's just get rid of moving averages. We don't really need them. And let's make this a little smaller, just so it's in line with all the other ones that we're going to do. And then we're going to compare, M against USDT. EOS USDT, Litecoin USDT, VeChain USDT, Algo, Atom, Kyber Network, Zcash, Ontology, Tron, Comp, Theta, BAT, Qtum, Dash, XMR, and IOTA. Cool. Okay, now we have a good understanding of what's doing well in relation to USDT, not BTC. So what's doing well? ZEC's doing well. Litecoin, surprisingly, wow, Litecoin's doing well. BCH is doing well. ZEC's doing well. EOS is doing decent. Theta is doing decent. BNB is doing decent. So let's now check Litecoin, because that's up 7.6%. And I'll just keep my analysis on this. And keep this open. And we're looking at, not really going to be trading Theta. Well, it's looking decent. Let's see Zcash. Let's change up Zcash. And look up Litecoin. Wow, big move. But it's been pretty weak relative. Look at that. There's zero rebound. Look at where Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is all the way up here, near the February highs, close to them, or breaking them, sorry. And look at where Litecoin is. So relatively speaking, Litecoin is super, super weak against some of these more stronger cryptocurrencies. So yeah, if you're looking for a retest of the $50 zone, that's a decent opportunity. But man, oh man, is Litecoin weak relative to the overall crypto market in my personal belief. Let's just take away everything and just go here to here. But if it does retest, it could be an opportunity. You got some high R-vol, which is good to see. Relative volume is looking higher, which is good, indicating that there's more eyeballs coming into the market. So that's going to be somewhat of an opportunity, but we are looking mainly at the ones that we've already identified as potential opportunities. So Ethereum is definitely on the list. And like we can see within this page, if we go here, VeChain is holding a very nice descending zone where we get a series of lower highs. We can get rid of this and just redraw it into a very nice, very precise area. So we can go like this, and that's going to be the next high that we want to see break. And then we can get our projection like so. Like so. All right, so that's going to be VeChain. It'd be nice to see a validation of this previous resistance as a new level of support. And then Link is also looking really great, but we definitely have a little bit more to do in terms of the formation of the structure. And then the high that we want to see break is around right here, 786. So right now, that's Link and VeChain. They're still looking pretty good, but it just definitely still has a decent amount to go. Cardano is finally looking like it's actually going to break out of this zone here. Let's take it to the 15-minute. Yeah, I think I'm going to change this up a little bit just because you see that zone and that high. So I'm going to go like that. So that's the zone I want to see break. We're already getting a little bit of hesitation here within that zone. So that's going to be the break right around there. But yeah, if we see a nice break and retest like this, I think we're able to get a really good solid. So if we go like that, that would be that perfect opportunity. And then instead of there, you just put the high right there. But we'll see where it goes. That could be the opportunity for Cardano, but it's still not broken yet, so we are not going to put too much of our own bias onto the price action. We want to be very objective in how we view it. All right, so that's going to be basically the crypto market update here in terms of the alts that I'm going to be looking at. VeChain not ready, Link not ready, Binance Coin I would say is the most ready, because if we're looking back to the daily, we've already talked about it, break of this ascending triangle formation, retest of this ascending triangle formation, held for a new level of support, and now we're just looking for continuation to the upside. We got a huge bullish candle, bullish engulfing the previous candle on a 4 hour, so it's a very significant candle, and you got a retest of the previous high right here, validated for a new level of support. So it's looking pretty decent here, and it's holding that previous low, holding that previous high. So if we get a nice move to the upside, that could be a trending market for BNB, especially because we're looking at it from a larger time frame like so. It's very, very clear to me, at least, that this could be a continuation just because of the key level of resistance support right there, and then we see these higher lows creating a move up. So I think the momentum and aggressiveness is to the upside, and we see the overall aggressiveness get even more aggressive. So right now it's pretty mellow, and then it gets more aggressive, and I think it's going to get even more aggressive. So that's my view on BNB and the alts overall. I think that alts are going to start climbing, and I want to have exposure in the alts that are, in my opinion, showing relative strength and are showing strength compared to the rest of the altcoin market, which, like I said, is things like VeChain, Link, Cardano, Binance Coin's looking pretty good. ZEC actually looked pretty decent on the relative strength. Ethereum also is looking really strong. But Litecoin, not as much, just because of the fact that it hasn't been strong recently, whereas Ethereum has been very strong. BNB has been strong. VeChain. We're talking about like daily, 4-hour, weekly time frame. So yeah. Face outs, you there? Yes or no? Hopefully you can hear me because I'm definitely here. So that's basically going to be the video for today in terms of the crypto market update. Hopefully you got some value out of it. I do think that the market's going to continue towards the upside, so we want to be looking at alts as well as BTC, because BTC right now is taking a lot of the market share. It's really the one to be looking at right now, but I do think that in time, alts will get a bid and they will start to move to the upside here. So we're going to be looking at alts for opportunities, and we'll be making sure that the Performante Premium members are getting a good advancement of what plays that we're looking at and what we're looking at potentially entering. So definitely keep an eye out if you are a Performante Premium member within the overall Discord section that we do provide. Just looking at some questions here within the Discord. All right, so that's gonna be the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It was a little bit of a long one. It was like an hour and 40 minutes, which is a little bit longer, but we did a global macro and then we did a crypto market. So we did both. We try to cover many different asset classes because we always like to understand the global macro aspect before we just dive into the crypto market, because it is correlated. There are things that can be taken in the traditional markets to use in the crypto markets, in my opinion. And that's what we're using right now, and that's why we're using the global macro and the crypto market update in confluence with each other. And also, we also trade in both markets, so it makes sense. Joshua says, only expecting the BTC market cap dominance to top around 66. So let's take a quick look at this. 65, 6. Yeah, I'm thinking like 65 around. Key level of support, 66, 65.8 also is a key level. So we'll see where it goes. Obviously, we're not trading it. We're looking at it just to understand the overall bullishness of the alts. But I do agree with you that there is a higher probability of holding resistances and breaking supports, moving to the downside, indicating alts are really showing their strength. In my opinion, that's a higher probability than everything moving to the downside, Bitcoin taking the lead, and all alts just crashing to the floor. I think that that's a lower probable situation that we're going to be facing. So thank you for watching, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. And until next time, have a good one, folks. Hey traders, welcome to another crypto market update. We just did a global macro update talking about the FOMC decision as well as the interest rate decision that was for the United States, and that would potentially impact the market, but they left it the same at 25 basis points or 0.25%, so there's not a whole lot of impact within the market. S&P does look like it's taking that pretty well, moving to the upside, breaking this small term resistance zone, which is going to further validate our risk on sentiment, which means that we're going to be looking for longs on Bitcoin as well as some alts that we're going to be talking about in this video. So let's get right into it. This is the price action of BTC on the daily chart, and we know that this around 10.5-ish K zone was a very important level to pass. We broke it, we retested, not precisely, but we do see there's that small wick that's going to create some sort of indecision in the market, and it looks like we're coming back to the upside. We'll look at it in a smaller time frame, but it does look like it's squeezing pretty well. So the next key levels that we're currently seeing for possible levels of resistance is 12K for the next one, and then around 13.3, we see that was a high back in the summer of 2019, as well as a support and resistance multiple times back in kind of 2017, 2018, that high there. So we're slowly climbing up here. We see that we're kind of gaining ground from the long drawn out kind of consolidation we're seeing. And it's just a matter of, are we going to continue the trend, or are we going to see the positive correlation within the S&P basically create a little bit of worry, because I do think that the S&P and overall equities could have a continuous move to the downside because of the second wave. Uncertainty, fear, I just don't think it's over yet, and there is positive correlation between Bitcoin and more traditional assets, but we'll see where it goes from that point. There's slightly decreasing positive correlation where it's less correlated over time, so that's really good to see. So that's the daily chart. We see push. That's a very strong impulse move. We see an exhaustion point that we're occurring right now, and I think that next impulsive move could occur. So let's go on to a smaller time frame. Let's go to the 4-hour and see what we're able to identify within this strong push to the upside. We've got a nice consolidation. We're able to hold that nice support series of higher lows, and then we just put a ascending trend line here, and then we put a descending trend line, and then we are on the 1-hour time frame. We do see a nice little symmetrical triangle here, pretty well respected. We do see a breakout where you see there was a lot of hesitation. If we're just going to get into it, this is not classified as a breakout right here. That is not a breakout. This theoretically could be a breakout because you see a break, but I would look for the recent high, which is this, to get broken. So we recently got an impulse push to the upside. That was the impulse push, and then right here we're seeing the consolidation, correction, or market breadth, and then we're kind of at the highs here where we're still holding a series of higher lows. We could get a little bit more aggressive with them if we would like, but overall we're seeing a series of higher lows push the price towards a horizontal level of resistance, which is around 11.3, I would say 11.3 is a pretty good level. That is our current level of resistance. We've already broken the descending zone, so we are on an uptrend, potentially moving towards the upside here if we break that 11.3 zone, and then the first target for this particular price action pattern would be around 11.7, and I think that we could get some overperformance to 12K because that was a very significant level that we saw on the chart. So in short, Bitcoin is bullish, but I do want to see that price break above 11.3. We see that there is significant volume accumulation within the structure of the price action, which is great to see, and there are many signs, not just in crypto, but as well in the global macro environment that does suggest that the risk on sentiment is going to continue. So as of right now, I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin. I am looking at another altcoin that has moved in tandem or very positively correlated with Bitcoin, and that's Ethereum. So we'll look at the altcoin market information and tools first, and then we'll go and jump into Ethereum, and then we'll go over the rest of the alts that do look like they have some potential. But I think that Ethereum is going to be the place to be if BTC does move to the upside again, because a lot of alts did not perform well and Bitcoin was moving aggressively to the upside. They were actually moving down. Capital was flowing out of alts into BTC. You saw the Bitcoin dominance increase as well. And I think the only real altcoin that did very well during that time was Ethereum, because it's the most established altcoin in my personal view. So there's going to be a lot of capital flowing into it. And the smaller altcoins are going to be a lot less. So quick look at the overall altcoin market. We do see that the price is still moving to the upside. A little bit of hesitation at the previous high, but we see lots of volatility within the altcoins. Tremendous amount of volatility, but overall we do see it's pretty aggressively moving to the upside. So we know that on average altcoin market caps are rising, not for every single altcoin, but if you accumulated all of them together, it would still be moving to the upside, which is a positive note for the alts. Quick look at the BTC Dominance. We are seeing a move to the upside. Previous key level of support is getting tested for a new level of resistance. Just a consolidation. If we start to see a move back to the downside, definitely we would want to be looking for alts. But if we start to see a break and then a retest here, we could be seeing a potential further move for the Bitcoin Dominance to the upside, which would mean that we want to be heavier in BTC and looking at BTC more so than the alts. But right now, we're not really at that point yet, so I'm looking at both BTC as well as alts, but I'm looking in one in particular, which is going to be Ethereum. Let's get rid of that. Not really going to talk about volatility. It's already increasing. We know that. And then there's no real gaps other than the one at like 99 on the CME Futures Exchange. But don't really have too much more that I want to get into involving that, because I don't know if we're actually going to get all the way down there. They don't need to fill, right? It's not a guarantee 100% hit rate that it will fill. The one that we created back in early summer of 2019 took like 6 months to fill. So it takes time. It's a little bit contradicting what my overall bias is, which is bullish. That's why I'm not covering too much. And we're expanding in volatility to the upside. So we're looking for continuational patterns to the upside. So this is the other pattern that I'm looking at. This is going to be Ethereum paired with USDT. We see a series of lower highs and higher lows squeeze the price towards an apex of the structure. The key zone that I'm currently looking to see the price pass before I like to enter is 325 right there, where we see strong levels of resistance hold the price down. And I think if we are able to get the price to break above and retest this zone, it'll have a nice continuational push to the upside. And I want exposure in Ethereum if it does construct that type of price action. So what we're looking for would probably be something along the lines of this. You get a nice push to the upside, you get a nice retest, strong validation that this previous high has been broken. You get a retest of the previous resistance as a new level of support. You could, if you really wanted to, in a small time frame, draw in a descending wedge or triangle around this zone, and then you'd be looking for the same thing, break and retest of the major structural zone right around there. So that would be the type of entry that you'd want right around here, and what you'd want to do is put your, let's get our long position. You can put a stop entry above the recent highs. You get triggered in when the momentum comes towards your direction. Low below the previous low. You're looking for the size of the triangle, the symmetrical triangle. In this particular one, breakout zone was around there. And then you could be looking at maybe a 2 risk reward at a minimum, and then you'd be looking to just trail your stop loss, move your stop loss up manually just by market structure. You could do moving averages, parabolic SARs, whatever your method is to try to let winners run. That would be the method that you would use, but the ideal initial take profit or area that you'd want to see the price hit ideally would be around 360 in my personal view. So then let's take it back to the daily chart. We don't need this. So let's look at 360. Ballpark 360 to see if there's any, oh yeah, very strong level of resistance, very strong level of support, very strong level of support, resistance. So yeah, around 360 I would say is a good area for a possible first level of hesitation for the price for Ethereum. Could very well blow through, and that's why we like to use different methods to try to capture more profit if it does provide us with explosive move. But at the kind of minimums, we're just looking for the size of the symmetrical triangle, which is around 359, 360. So that's what we're going to be looking for Ethereum. If we get a little bit better of an entry, that's great. Our risk reward will be even better. And what would that look like? Well, that was a pretty aggressive push to the upside. What if we get something like this, right? A little bump up, and then it holds. I'd be very comfortable with that as well, because it's holding well above the zone. You could be looking for a structure like so, and then you'd be looking for your long position. Let's get the long position. And it could look something like that, which is going to yield you a better risk reward, 2.7. So that's quite a bit better than 2. It does very well depend where we enter, but I think you can get a minimum of 2, but 2.5 to 3 would be the ideal situation for this particular trade. And then if it goes further, it goes further. So that's going to be the trade I'm looking at in terms of the alts. I do have a couple others that look somewhat similar. But like I said before, it's not just the price action that you're looking at, but how the actual asset is responding to certain market environments. Right now, we see Bitcoin move to the upside quite aggressively, and it's taking market share. Bitcoin dominance is increasing, meaning that alts are actually losing market cap and the whole crypto market cap into Bitcoin. So capital is funneling and flowing from alts into Bitcoin. And we got to understand and ask ourselves, okay, well, why in the world would we look at alts when Bitcoin's the one leading the charge? Well, we wouldn't look at random alts, like number 55 on CoinMarketCap. We wouldn't do that. The only alts that we would be interested in entering, because they probably could have a higher appreciation or a better risk reward would be the alts that have done well in the previous BTC market pumps, and that's primarily Ethereum. There are some others, but I like to use Ethereum. It's liquid, almost everyone can trade it, and it usually outperforms Bitcoin when there is a huge bullish push. Not every single time, but in history, Ethereum has proven to be a very positively correlated asset with Bitcoin, that if Bitcoin's moving to the upside aggressively, capital is not flowing out of Ethereum into BTC for the most case. They're both getting bids, which is really good to see. So that's why I'm a little bit more biased towards looking at Ethereum instead of some of these other alts that we will talk about. But the next thing we're going to talk about is, yes, another alt. It's BCH, Bitcoin Cash. Very similar structure. We got a symmetrical triangle with a series of lower highs and higher lows, squeezing the price closer to the apex. And we're looking for not only the price action pattern to break, which would mean a break in the descending trend line. Just a reminder, we're never looking for shorts in a bullish market. It just does not make sense. The risk rewards are not good. The dependability is not there. We're looking for continuation pattern in a structure like this, and we want to see the price break the descending trend line as well as the horizontal zone of resistance sitting maybe just around 293, 294. If we do get a break and retest, that would be a really good opportunity. And let's just look for possible outcomes kind of like this. It could take a little while, but this is the type of structure you're looking for. Break, retest, validation, and hold. You could be looking for a nice structure like this. Maybe here you could be looking for a limit entry on a low right there, whatever your plan is. A stop entry above the high, so it enters you in right when the momentum starts to kick back in. And then you'd be looking for, let's just, oh, come on, arrow, there we go. And then we'd just be looking for, let's see what number is the target for this. And we haven't broken yet, but we do have to make sure that it breaks. So not absolutely great, but if you see something like that, that's something that you'd probably have to do just so you have a decent risk reward. Obviously, we don't exactly know what's coming to fruition. If it's just going to be a small little nice break and retest, it'll be something like this, so you have a much better risk reward. But we'll see where it goes. Hasn't broken yet, so we don't want to put our bias and project our opinions too quickly with the price action pattern not yet fully developed. Litecoin has been doing pretty well, which is kind of surprising because it hasn't been a relatively strong project in the realm of crypto, but it actually has been doing pretty decent recently, showing relative strength to some of the other alts that we're looking at, so we're going to keep an eye on this one. Like I said before, Ethereum is the one that we really want to be looking at just because of the aggressive positive correlation, whereas some of the other alts are not seeing that positive correlation. And right now, it does look like BTC is leading the charge and alts are kind of lagging behind. So we want to keep that momentum and make sure that we're able to capture an alt. If we're going to be trading alts, that will probably move along with BTC if BTC moves to the upside. Litecoin is a possibility, but it's not going to be a first option for me. The first option is going to be Ethereum. And if, let's say, Ethereum just absolutely has a monster break and there's no pullback, there's no hesitation, I'm like going to the washroom, things happen, life happens, you might not get the entry, then we'll look for other altcoins that still do look like they have high probabilities, like BCH, as well as Litecoin as well. So right now, the current zone, it's a little bit larger, but I'm going to go just a hair larger right there. So around $56. Let's just get our, don't really think we have that there. Nope, price label. So around $56 is where the breakout zone is for Litecoin. If it goes above there and retests, that could be an indication that we could be moving to the upside. If you really want to be safe, $56 or $57 at the next high would be a little bit more dependable trade, but I think a little bit lower here. If you see other alts rise, could provide some really good risk reward opportunities. So don't really see anything right now for an option, but think Ethereum is going to be the pair to be looking at for this upcoming next couple days here, in my personal belief. Bitcoin Cash is not bad. It looks pretty well respected, but because Ethereum has done so well when BTC moves to the upside, you kind of got your feet in both pools, where you got the altcoin side as well as the Bitcoin side, where if Bitcoin goes up, some alts might not go up, but you have a pretty high probability that Ethereum will go up as well. Not a whole lot to discuss on other ones here. Zcash is not doing okay. It's not really providing any sort of nice structure for us to trade in, so I don't really love it. So I'll just leave that there. Litecoin, we already talked about within this structure. So then we also know that the $50 zone, we can see right here, is a major key level. So we're around right there. So if it does move down to that level, we know that that's a key level of support. But right now we see this little structure right here. So we're just going to be keeping our eye on that. Kyber Network is another one that we were keeping an eye on to some degree, but is not able to break this descending zone. But something to note, the fact that this is an extremely well-respected descending zone does give us a little bit more dependability when we are looking at inevitably longing it if it does actually break to the upside. We can see that the previous one didn't really give us much of an option in terms of retests, like at all. That would be the zone, or the next one up. This one would be the zone right here. Candle, 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 all along here. That would be the zone. So I do see a wick. So if you are really looking, and if you wanted to snipe, oops, we do see a wick actually retested that zone, but I like to see candle closures. So that's not the most ideal, but you're not going to get it every single time. That's just the difficulty of waiting for a retest. But anyways, we can see that if this descending zone does break again, we could see a pretty aggressive move to the upside. We're going to get some strong risk-reward structures that could play out. So that's why I'm kind of having it on my Chrome section here, just because if it does break out, it could yield a pretty good opportunity, but I don't want to enter if there's no real reason to. So let's quickly look at the trade I'm currently in. I'm currently in ADA, or Cardano. Entered here, rode it up, came all the way back down. I accepted it at this point in terms of the risk I was taking on, and I still have pretty good confidence that it could still move to the upside. We got a nice double bottom at this previous resistance right there, which is good to see. We did not get a retest of this previous resistance, and it was pretty well climbing up. So then I entered at the completion of this candle right there. So then you got to move up, and I was not really well in drawdown. We mentioned it to the Performante Premium members about this exact trade. So I'm just waiting at this point. It'd be nice to see the price start to trend back up, because we did get a break in this descending trend line structure and then a retest. So that's really good. And then not only that, but you also saw the break in the descending trend line, but also this not really well respected, this right here. This horizontal zone is now getting tested as a new level of support. So that is great to see, and I think the overall trend is moving back to the upside. I'm probably at this point going to move my stop loss up to there. So I'm basically cutting my risk by like a third, maybe, yeah, somewhere around there. So we'll see where it goes from there. But that's the low that I do not want to see the price pass. If it goes below that low, I'm going to assume that the trade is no longer valid. It couldn't make it higher because the initial target was like at almost just under 0.16. So hasn't made it yet, but I'm still pretty optimistic about this opportunity. I'm very okay with holding on to it. We see that nice support there. We see a higher low. Yeah, I'm very open to holding on to this trade for a little bit longer to see where it takes me. So that's Cardano. Mentioned it to the Performante Premium members there. VeChain is not really doing much, but we do see a nice descending zone that could play into a possible breakout at a certain point. But right now, we definitely don't see anything that is worth trading in terms of longs, and we're not looking for shorts. Same thing with Chainlinks. Chainlinks been consolidating, well respected. I think it will have a really nice breakout when it does break out, but right now we're just seeing a nice descending wedge structure, and then the new breakout zone is going to be right there. So we're just seeing it slowly trend down, which is totally normal within really any trending market. But I do want to keep my eye out because Link is one of those that could just absolutely rock it and can provide like a 5, 10, 15 risk reward or even more. So we'll see where Link goes, but there's nothing really to do right now for VeChain, Link. Binance Coin wasn't so bad. It didn't actually break out as aggressive as I thought it would. If we're looking at the 6 hour, for example, we see this very well-respected ascending triangle formation broke to the upside, retested with a nice wick that validated the previous resistance as a new level of support. And then we got a nice trending move to the upside, and we can see this previous support is now, or previous resistance is now acting as a new level of support. So we are looking for continuation here. Initially, I thought this triangle looked okay. Let's just take some of the stuff off because it's looking a little bit messy at this point. Take all that off and just very, very clean, very, very simple. Let's get the ray. Oops, that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for this. There it is. So we know that if we go to the 6 hour, this zone is a possible support area, and we see a descending zone right there with the wicks and then the candles on a smaller time frame right around there. Get a nice little projection. And while I'm covering these altcoins, we have to remember that out of all of them, I think Ethereum is the one to be in. If you're going to be in one, Ethereum is the one to be in. Just because Ethereum performs better than most alts when BTC is moving to the upside, but you also get the basket of Ethereum being a alt, so you actually get the more speculative investors to look at Ethereum as well. So you get both ends of the basket, which is really a positive thing, in my opinion. So Binance Coin is looking not too bad. We got a nice contraction in volatility. I think the daily or larger time frame gives it a little bit more perspective, where you get a impulse push, corrective, impulse push, corrective, and then it looks like we could be setting up for a nice impulse push to the upside for the next target. You could probably draw an ascending zone that's going to give some confluence to an area of support right there, or area of resistance. We can also see that this zone is very well in line with possible key levels of support and resistance. Support right here, resistance right here. So that's going to be the next zone for BNB in my personal belief. It's just not ready yet. It's still contracting, but if it does break, we will be looking. And then let's just put a nice horizontal zone right there. That's going to be the base that we want to see a retest on, if it does break to the upside. So that's going to be the overall altcoin market update. Quick look at relative strength and weakness. Covered basically all the stuff that's on there. Litecoin is one of the top, if not the top. Bitcoin Cash is on top as well. EOS is doing not bad, but like it's -3 in compared to BTC. So it's not really that great. You want to be looking for things that are actually doing better than Bitcoin, or else why would you be in alts when you can be Bitcoin? So Litecoin is one of them, and that's kind of about it. In terms of paired against USDT, Litecoin is up there. We also see stuff like BCH, Bitcoin Cash. ZEC, we did look at ZEC. It wasn't too spectacular. EOS is up there, not too great. And then you see Ethereum just up there as well with EOS as well. So I think the main thing we want to be looking for is Ethereum. Big potential play here for Ethereum in my personal view. And then also we're going to be looking at Binance Coin, which is an absolutely awesome. We're already in Cardano, so I'll just keep my eye out for that. Probably going to reduce my risk to just below those wicks there. So it's like maybe a half, a third, something like that. But in short, main thing is going to be Ethereum and BTC. Mainly Ethereum. I'd really like to get in Ethereum when it breaks above 325 and retests that zone. That would be a really good opportunity in my personal belief. So that's going to be the completion of the crypto market update. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you have any concerns, definitely drop them in the comments below and we'll be sure to read them. If you thought this was useful, informative, educational, if you got value from it, it would be great if you would like the video and subscribe, because it does help us out. If you think that there are things that could improve the channel in some way, shape, or form, just specifically talking about the YouTube channel, please write in the comments. We take constructive criticism well, and we are always trying to learn how to improve our content, I guess. Not really trading, because that's just me personally doing it, but we do try to make the content more approachable, digestible, easily understandable, so more people are able to benefit from the content we provide. So, yeah, if you have something that would be helpful for the channel to grow or something like that, that would be great if you would kind of see our 2 cents. And if not, I hope you enjoyed the video. So until next time, have a good one, everyone.